If you guys are watching this video, it means that the Season 9 collection event has released with some substantial changes in line for the Legends. And don't worry, there are plenty of things in this tier list that we need to make sure we can't leave out. If you guys enjoy this tier list, I would greatly encourage you guys to subscribe and like this video so you guys can help me to my 300 subscribers goal and potentially 1,000 subscribers. So without further ado, let's get straight into this. This video, of course, starts with D tier, the legends that you'll see the least and need either major buffs or a complete rework. At the bottom and the only one in D tier is Fuse. Although the hype was pretty big for this legend back with the release of Season 8, Fuse's abilities just didn't make the cut for higher tier gameplay. He is very much avoided in ranked as his tactical ultimate and his grenade spam are underwhelming to the enemy teams. I feel like his knuckle cluster is a pretty decent spot as a tactical, yet his ultimate probably needs a complete rework or a major buff. Next up in the tier list are C tier legends. These legends are slightly better and efficient than the D tier legends but are lessly used in higher competitive play. At the bottom of C tier is Mirage. Like always, Mirage has been one of the lower tier legends with the kit that revolves around a self-benefit playstyle rather than the ability to help out his team. His ultimate doesn't really do much, and his tactical is more used for knowing where a team is rather than anything else. A buff for Mirage could be that he is able to see where the bamboozled enemies are, with a scan lasting for no more than maybe a couple seconds. On top of Mirage in C tier is Rampart. With the new Genesis update, she now gets a new reload animation for LMGs, which I guess is pretty cool if you look at it from time to time. Although Rampart's kit is based a lot on you and your team, it lacks the ability to quickly set itself up when you need it to. Her walls is a great tool for amping weapons, but needs more attention with the swift ability to set itself up. Instead of placing a wall at your feet, Rampart should be able to throw it across long distances. This should make it so that she doesn't need to be physically there to place her walls, and that she can always provide a safe protection for teammates that are possibly on the other side of the battlefield. Her ult is still very underwhelming, and I think it should be reworked into something else. I really don't know. After Rampart is Watson. Watson is a legend that I see being used constantly in high competitive play. Don't get me wrong, her ability can be very clutch when you need them, and can get you the upper hand advantage against teams, but her kit needs a little rework and can be better if given the right attention. Her tactical is great for locking down areas, but I feel like it needs more penalty for enemies who walk into it. Her ultimate is very powerful but situational, as the only thing teams need to do is shoot it down with a magazine or two and eat their ult. I don't really see enemy teams throwing in their ults intentionally when there's a pylon there. Like I said, her timer needs to be removed, and I feel like they should have the timer if she has more than one pylon. But don't forget that she's one of the best legends with a major buff, as Watson can now place more than one Nessie on the map at a time with her epic emotes. On the top of C tier is Lifeline. Lifeline has been given a pretty major nerf as her hitbox has been increased similar to Wraith's back in the Chaos Theory update. But that's not the sole reason why I put her in this tier. Her care package is still very useless, even though you can now get golden items. You can easily use Loba's ultimate ability to take loot from a higher loot zone or possibly death boxes. This is way better, as I prefer not to wait a long time for items in her care package. Plus, her care package can be easily seen from across the map, therefore showing off her position to enemy teams in the general area. Also, her revive shield's been taken away, one of the crucial things that made her a better legend than she's used to be. The only reason why she's in the higher tier than some of the other legends is because of her Doc healing drone and the speed which you can be healed. B tier. These legends are outclassed by the higher tier legends but are still a useful pick for your team. Still, these legends aren't highly recommended. At the bottom of B tier is Loba. For Season 9, she will receive some pretty significant changes with her jump drive. These changes favor the mobility side of her, giving her tactical some more breathing space. The reason why I put her in the bottom of B tier is because I feel that her abilities still have more potential without having the game be unbalanced. Although her jump drive has been buffed, I feel as if she should be able to throw her jump drive a little bit further and a little bit higher. With her ultimate, I feel like they should give back her fast cooldown, as it doesn't hurt to have it 30 seconds fast. Next is Bangalore. I'm just kidding, it's Bangalore. With one of the more simpler kits, Bangalore is able to control the battle with her smoke and her airstrike, and if used properly can really help during competitive plays. The only thing holding her back from all the other legends is her smoke. With the new Season 9 update, her smoke was given a slight buff towards the enemies, but at the same time a slight nerf for you and your teammates. Respawn added some thickness to the smoke, making it powerful against your enemies but really disorienting for your own team. Although it gives you cover, you really can't do anything inside of it since you can't see shit. Respawn should make her smoke a little bit less heavier for you and your teammates while having it still very thick for your enemies. Speaking of thick, after Bangalore is Caustic. Even though this thick man underwent a big nerf in the Chaos Theory update, I've still seen many people use him in Rank League gameplay. Don't get me wrong, his kit is still very strong for forcing your enemies out of a certain position, but his gas still is underwhelming for others. It's really at the point where no one's scared of his gas. Respawn should increase the damage mechanics of his ability so it stands as more of a challenging obstacle to overcome. And of course, on the top of B tier is Horizon. Like other people would say, I believe that Horizon has been over-nerfed and that Respawn jumped too far. They nerfed way too many things at once without giving her the chance to see how she is with smaller nerfs. In order to make things better for this legend, they should give back one of the things that were taken away from her. Even though she was really powerful throughout Season 7 and 8, I really don't think she'll be too problematic if a couple things are sprinkled back. The next tier is A tier. These legends are used a lot during both competitive pubs, being slightly outclassed by the S tier legends. In general, they really don't need any buffs or nerfs. The first one in A tier is Pathfinder. Pathfinder went through some interesting amounts of change throughout each one of the seasons. Right now I feel like he's in a solid spot. His grapple seems to be in a decent spot and serves as a perfectly balanced tool for reposition. His ultimate is good for reaching further places before the enemy team can get a drop. The only reason why he's on the bottom of the tier is because his zipline slash grapple is outclassed in terms of mobility compared to other mobility legends. Plus the rework that he needs to be added for his passive. Overall, Pathfinder seems to be in a good spot and may need the slightest changes. The next legend after Pathfinder is Crypto. Crypto is amazing at his recon abilities, with the ability to scan wherever you want for as long as you want until your drone is shot down. His drone is really strong to use during battles as it gives sonar information against the enemies, knowing where they are constantly. If I were to slightly buff him, I would add a follow mode for his drone so that it's much easier to use his drone without having to be AFK in the middle of a fight. But other than that, I feel like he's a solid. Third in A tier is Wraith. After being a top tier legend in S tier for quite some time, I think it is time for her to finally retire her spot. She isn't as powerful as she used to be, but with low profile removed, she's still a high tier player. Her ability to scout enemies with her face without being hurt is really powerful, and her swift escape abilities with her face can be really helpful during choke points throughout the battle. Her portal is very strong when it comes to transporting her teammates in a short amount of time, especially on a downed one. Overall, she still stands as a strong legend. After Wraith is the star of this event, Revenant. With one of the most significant changes, Revenant can now climb extremely high on walls, making him a frickin' spider now. He has a much smaller hitbox size now, due to his small body frame. And of course, with all these buffs came a couple of nerfs. Also included with the patch notes, his silence has been reduced by 15 seconds, and the death protection timer has been reduced by 5. Really, I'm fine with the fact that his tactical has been reduced, as I thought 20 seconds was pretty long time, but 5-second reduction on his timer can be somewhat of a setback, as every second in his death totem counts. But other than that, he seems to be a balanced legend, and doesn't seem to be too overpowered or too underwhelming. His kit is a very powerful one, and can be very hard to maintain in terms of balance, but I feel that Respawn did a pretty decent job with it. Next is Octane. With a couple nerfs in terms of gunfire on his jump pad and health reduction, Octane still ends up being a legend that is used constantly in aggressive plays. This season, the devs added 30 seconds to his ultimate cooldown. This made his jump pad less available to others, as people using Octane would expect it almost in an instant. Even though his ultimate receives such a cooldown, I feel that Octane still remains a higher tier player, and that people will still use him aggressively during comms or pubs. In my opinion, I would have added maybe an extra 15 seconds instead of 30 in his ultimate, but I think we'll see how he is in the future with the small nerf. And on top of A tier is the newest legend, Valkyrie. Everyone playing all of Apex can all agree that she is one of the most balanced characters in the game right now, needing little to no changes at all. Her ability to fly seems very strong, but works out perfectly well with her amount of fuel and the disability to shoot. Her ultimate is a perfect tool for repositioning, combined with her scan, one of the best combinations in Apex. In my opinion, this is one of the best ultimates for repositioning at the moment. I expect her to be used a lot in the coming days, and I bet there won't be any major changes anytime soon. The last tier in this tier list is S tier. These legends are the best out of the best, and you'll see them frequently in your games. First in S tier is Bloodhound. Right now, he's in a perfect spot with his kit and stands very powerful towards enemies when it comes to recon and understanding where everyone is. With the new event, Bloodhound received slight nerfs, including the reveal time reduced to 3 seconds and the duration of his ultimate reduced by 30 seconds. Even with these changes, Bloodhound's scanning and tracking abilities work in perfect unison when it comes to team plays, giving you the upper hand advantage opportunity against the other team. Now, currently, the best legend so far in Apex Legends is Gibraltar. Overall, Gibby wins over everyone, with the strong ability to push fights and his ability to be a team player. His gun shield gives him an extra 50 damage of health, and his bubble kit give him the opportunity to reset in a safe spot before going back into the battle. His ultimate is very useful when it comes to terms of damage, and comes very fast after activation. Even though his gun shield was nerfed and the fast heal removed from his dome shield, they both play a part in keeping him balanced and most effective in competitive play. So overall, even with these changes, he still remains a very high tier player. So that was a lot to take in. I hope you guys enjoyed this tier list video and given somewhat an idea of where all the legends are right now during this event. If you guys disagree or agree with my tier list, make sure to put it down in the comment section below. I would just appreciate it that you guys won't make my comment section into an entire battlefield. I prefer to look at my YouTube studio without any notice about sus comments. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.